The Ukrainian army, which entered the territory of the Belgorod region of Russia, struck several settlements. As a result, a bridge was destroyed in the village of Graforovka, a nearby gas pipeline was damaged, and a fire broke out. The images were distributed on Telegram channels. Also, in the village of Nadezhny, located 6 kilometers from Graforovka, a bridge over the Gryazna River was destroyed as a result of artillery strikes by the Ukrainian army. A footage of the second bridge that was also blown up has been released. The bombing of the bridges has complicated the logistics of the Russian army. These bridges were also used by the military. Another explosion occurred at an oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar region where fire broke out after Ukrainian kamikaze drone strikes on March 19. The footage was filmed and shared by local residents. The fire lasted for 5 days and covered an area of more than 10,000 square meters. On March 21, another explosion occurred at the plant as a result of a fuel spill in one of the tanks. As a result, 2 firefighters were injured. Hundreds of firefighters and special equipment were deployed to the area, however it was not possible to extinguish the fire. It should be noted that the pipeline connecting the tanks was also damaged as a result of the drone strike. The plant had to temporarily suspend its operations. The annual production capacity of the plant, located 400 kilometers from the front line with Ukraine, is 6.6 million tons.
Да здесь 400 метров шарит. Вот это сейчас бы заехали по 10 машин. Ты посмотри, просто день, блядь.
И все, блядь, смотри, пизда. И все, и не горит, понял, блядь. Охренеть, блядь.
Саша Лькович, выезжай. Охранника забираем.
Ебать. А что с другими резервуарами теперь?
За 101, второй. Цел, нет, все нормально, ты вышел? Так точно. Ты, слава богу, не ходить больше туда никуда, ну и нахуй, все, уходите. Было 3 штаба.
А тебе жарко было?
Хорошо, документ обычно есть.
У меня здесь окно, я тебе говорю, окно открыто серое, у меня аж лицо загорело.
Слушай, ну конечно, ну там что, когда стал заполняться, нет?
У меня без открытого окна надо.
Сейчас пройду через поле, гляну. Вот здесь был выброс больше вверх такой, сейчас пойду через поле гляну.
Да. Ну запозднился, да.
Ух ты, уебала. Ух ты. Есть контакт, а? Ух ты. Ля-ля-ля-ля. Нихуя себе. Ух. Извините за мат. Сейчас должно сюда дойти, да?
Не, ну она просто пыкнула без взрыва.
1 Я же говорю, в нашу смену девочка должна произойти.
Ты так радуйся.
Смотри, смотри. Вытихает?
Да? Не поймешь, как
Ух, извините за мат. Сейчас должно сюда дойти, да? Ладно.
Не, ну она просто пыхнула без взрыва.
Я же говорю, в нашу смену девочка должна произойти.
Ты так радуйся.
Смотри, смотри. Вытихает?
Да? Не поймешь, как
Выброс, произошел выброс.
The Russian army is probably running out of T-72 tanks, which until then formed the backbone of the Russian armed forces tank fleet. This is evidenced by combat loss statistics cited by OSINT researcher Richard Verica. Russian tank losses show an unusual picture, he writes in his blog on the X platform. Verica noted that in recent months, T-72 losses have begun to decline rapidly and by March had fallen to almost zero. Currently, 2/3 of Russian tank losses are T-80s, which ceased to be mass-produced in 1996. Another quarter of losses are T-62s, which were produced until 1975, and only in third place in terms of losses is the newest tank used in combat, the T-90. Noting the progressive trend of a reduction in the total number of tanks lost by the Russians, Verica asks, where have the T-72s gone? Analyzing the losses of various T-72 modifications from the oldest to the latest upgrades, the analyst states that the ratio of losses between them has not changed in recent months. In his opinion, this means that new T-72s are no longer arriving at the front in significant quantities. Responding to comments from the subscribers, the analyst expressed doubt that the Russians, for some reason, could have withdrawn units equipped with T-72 tanks from the front. As media reported, by the summer of 2024, Russian storage bases had almost completely exhausted their reserves of MT-LB armoured tractors, which the Russians often used on the front lines as armoured personnel carriers. By the beginning of 2025, these vehicles had become a rarity at the front. Currently, approximately the same trend is observed with tanks. In recent months, their losses have been steadily decreasing, although the intensity of battles is only increasing. Analysts consider this a sure sign that there are simply fewer tanks in the Russian army. Worse for the Russians, lately they've been losing in suicidal frontal assaults far more tanks than they could replace even in the most optimistic industrial scenario. All that is to say, the Russians might be running out of tanks. If the Kremlin's goal is to achieve an armoured breakthrough, it first must rebuild its tank corps. That means, at the very least, losing fewer tanks, if not also generating many more replacement tanks. That begs for prolonged stagnation at the front. But the Kremlin does have resources of replacement tanks. The Ural Vagon Zavod factory in southern Russia, which manufactures new T-90Ms, plus 4 other facilities that repair and modernize old tanks that have been mouldering in storage, some for decades. The big question, one that no outside analyst definitely has answered, is how many tanks Ural Vagon Zavod can build and how many tanks the other plants can repair.